Welcome back to the Map for College learning community. My name is Ernest Manelli, founder of My Action Plan for College. And this video focuses on the importance of honesty in developing your communication patterns when you're planning for college. Billy Joel has many famous songs, and in one of his songs, he laments that honesty is such a lonely word. And when you think about communication patterns, many times parents don't want to put too many limitations on their teenage children in terms of what they are dreaming of. But there might be certain realities or concerns that they have that they might wish to express, whether it's regarding how to finance a college education or whether or not the student might have the maturity factor to live away from home or to live far away from home potentially, and to adjust to a setting in a dormitory and with other people and living independently, learning how to do laundry, things like that. And then on the flip side, students themselves might be thinking, well, I really want to apply to a couple of schools that might be a little bit higher on the price range, but I'm not sure if that will go over well with mom and dad. So, my whole thing is as early as possible, under the most favorable conditions. Maybe it's a Saturday morning when everyone's relaxed. Maybe it's a Sunday evening right after dinner. Maybe it's sometime during the week when everybody's in a good mood. At some point early in your high school career, if you are considering an application to college in the future, I would encourage you just make an appointment, sit down with your family and say, I'd love to talk with you about some ideas I have for my future college educational prospects. And the thing is, having that open dialogue will be tremendously important and will really lower the anxiety level for all the stakeholders, for everyone involved. And I'm not just limiting this to moms and dads, but there are some instances, a growing number of instances, in which grandparents are making affirmative investments in their grandchildren's education. I know of many grandparents who are contributing to their grandchildren's 529 educational plans and helping out with college tuition and working out certain deals where, hey, if you make the dean's list, I'll give you a little boost. I'll give you some form of contribution towards your next semester's college attendance. So that's happening more and more these days. So if grandma and grandpa are taking an active interest, whether it's monetary interest or just an interest in, following your developing academic career and your potential career options down the road, by all means, if you feel comfortable doing so, include them in the conversation. Seek their advice. If you have a circle of trust with members of your family, with your guidance counselor, with certain teachers or coaches or activities directors or relatives or friends, or even in some instances, you can learn a lot from some of the parents of some of your friends. I remember having a couple of conversations with some of my teammates and classmates. Some of their parents they would offer advice, and I was like, oh, I hadn't really thought about that. So if you keep the communication patterns honest, transparent, and ongoing, it really benefits all concerned. Because there are three core issues that I have seen with communication patterns between students and families and among students and families. So, one important factor would be the finances. Your parents may wish for you to apply to a variety of schools, including public and private colleges and universities, just to have a mix of options. And sometimes the student will wish to apply to schools close to home as well as far away from home. You kind of have to develop a negotiation pattern, negotiation strategy in terms of how many schools on your list are going to be private colleges, public colleges, how many are going to be in the vicinity of the immediate region of the country, how many are going to be possibly different part of the country or international. So if you can come to some sort of reasonable accommodation as you're going through the decision-making process, it will allow everyone involved to feel heard and to feel valued and for their opinions to be of importance. So financing a college education would be one really important topic that comes up again and again. And I have told families many times, you can't just go by what the sticker price is on the front end, because in some instances, certain private colleges and universities, whether or not you qualify for need-based financial aid, and in many cases, some students will definitely qualify for need-based financial aid. But in addition to that, even if you don't qualify for need-based financial aid, whether you do or don't, you could still potentially qualify for merit-based financial aid. And the reason I mention this is sometimes a private college or university might, on the final analysis, might come in at a comparable sticker price to the public colleges. I had a very fortuitous set of circumstances develop in my case in which a couple of private colleges actually came in at a more affordable dollar amount with a lower student loan burden than the public colleges and universities to which I was admitted. So it didn't work out that way for all of the private colleges to which I was admitted, but for a couple of them it did. And that really played a role in some of my decision making. So finances would be one main topic. Another topic would be the perception of maturity. So, for example, sometimes parents are more concerned about the maturity factor and they're not sure if their son or daughter is ready to live away from home or live in a dorm or live far away from home, or maybe they are still working on negotiation and communication patterns with peers. Maybe their maturity level is and executive decision making functions are still developing. So sometimes the perception of maturity is different from one stakeholder to the other. And sometimes the parents might think, oh, my son or daughter has it all together. But the teen himself or herself is actually anxious about, oh, in a year or two, I'm going to have to live in the dorm and live in a college and do my own laundry and figure out my own meal plan. So if you have a concern about maturity and or the transition logistically, just talk it out, work it out, figure out something. If you are concerned about something, try to seek guidance about it ahead of time. So that can really clarify a lot of issues. So finances, maturity, and also the third major factor that I see come into play a lot in conversations will be return on investment. You and your family have a shared interest that whatever degree you pursue, whatever options you explore for your educational pathway, whether it be a professional licensure, a certificate-based program, whether it be an associate's, a bachelor's, a master's, a doctorate, whatever the case may be in your educational and professional training, you need to have the discussion about what is the return on investment, not just the financial return, but also the return in terms of quality of life, flexibility of choices, ability to have upward mobility within a career field, whether you are going into a career field that has potential for growth and options and autonomy, whether you see yourself as someone who is going to start out with an established firm and then maybe branch out to become a small business owner or become a sole proprietor. So all of these discussions require honesty, trust, transparency, and the best recommendation I can make is just to keep the conversation open and ongoing. So once again, please feel free to like this video, subscribe to our growing YouTube channel, and we wish you well as you articulate about your college options.